So I heard from a conversation recently that it is completely and utterly linked that people, when you go to the supermarket and you take out a trolley. I know in the US and in the place I'm in right now, New Zealand, when you go down to the supermarket and you get a trolley, it's basically free. Like you don't have to put anything in the trolley in order for it to work or for it to be unlocked or for it to be free of use. It's free of use. So it is completely linked. I heard this guy say it is completely linked that people that take back their trolleys and that put them back where they belong and don't just leave them out like just fucking leave them out like hanging around and let the employees put them away. The people that actually put them away themselves are actually people of very high principle. Which was kind of funny because the person who told me that said, yeah, that immediately, like when I heard that made me think of you. That made me think of like me, like a man of principle. And that gave me kind of a good idea to talk about today, which is becoming a man of principle. And the number one thing that matters the most to becoming a man of principle is disregarding other people. Now, what do I mean by this? Disregarding what other people think about you and disregarding what other people would judge you upon your actions. So, what you do when nobody's looking is what matters the most. What you do when nobody's judging you, nobody's there to tell you what to do, nobody's there to judge you, that is what matters the most. And so, when nobody's telling you to do anything and you just do it out of your own volition, that sets you apart from the average person. I'll give you another example. Because there's like, I always take back my stuff. Like I always take back the trolley after I'm done with the grocery shopping because I know it's not mine. I know that the next person that would like to use the trolley would like to go pick it up from the place where the trolleys are stored. They don't want to just wander around the car park to find a trolley just fucking anywhere, So what do? The other example I wanted to give is I go to coffee shops quite often. It allows me to get into the mindset of work, and I can just put my headphones in and just start working on my computer and be able to be in the zone in a way. And I might just order like a tea or a sparkling water, or I don't drink coffee, so it might be just a tea or water. And then what I do is I make sure that all of my stuff is clean. My table is like all neat and tidy when I'm done. And I make sure to bunch up all of my stuff. I was a waiter before, so I know how to pile dishes correctly in a coffee shop setting. And so it allowed me to pile up the dishes properly so that I only have stuff in two hands, and then I bring it back to the kitchen so that way the waiters don't have to clean up my table and do my job for me. And every single time, like, you can see the light in their eyes for like, because nobody does this. Nobody fucking does this. Like everybody's just lazy or takes everything for granted, or everybody's just like super entitled or just leaves their stuff whatever. Like they find a place where they think the stuff is supposed to go and they just leave it there until somebody comes and picks it up. So that's what I do. And the beautiful thing about that is I look at the people. I look at the waiters, I look at the baristas, I look at all of the people who work at the coffee shop. And as soon as you bring the stuff back, they just look at you with this light in their eyes. It's like, oh, this guy actually took some time to help us. And the more you do this, the more, like, you're basically tipping the scale in your favor. Like, you're up here and they're down here, so they feel like they have to do something to get back on an equal, like, exchange field, if you know what I mean. And so sometimes, like, I'll walk into the coffee shop and they'll tell me like, oh, it's you again, are you having your usual tea? And I'm like, yeah. And they tell me like, oh, well, you know what, today it's free. So that's the kind of stuff. Like, they come around to my table and they say, oh, do you want anything to eat? And I say, what do you mean, it's free? What do you mean? I wasn't planning on getting anything to eat, but if it's free, if you're offering. And they say, yeah, it's free. And then I'm like, all right, well, go ahead and get me something then. Okay, good, fair enough. It's nice. And so it's just these small favors that just put you in a good position overall to become that person that just, your principles are stronger than anything else. It's like going to the bathroom and washing your hands when you're done. Going to the bathroom, and if you make a mess, cleaning it up, making sure everything's good before you leave. It's the discipline of doing the things on a regular basis that don't necessarily matter a lot, but over the long term compound and craft you into the person you are. It's the small things that matter the most. Like, for example, I will never cheat on anyone. Like, in terms of relationships, I'll never be the cheater. I'll always be completely honest with the person I'm with. I'll just tell them like, hey, if I'm seeing other people, I'll be like, hey, I just want you to keep in mind that I'm seeing other people, and if you don't like that, then we can just end it here. But if you do want to be with me, I just want to let you know that I'm going to be with other people, and I've got nothing against you. I just am I think it's possible to love multiple people at the same time. So I want you to keep that into account whenever you're with me. If you don't want to be with me anymore, that's completely fine, I understand. And I'll leave it at that. And then they make their decision. So it's those kinds of things. Like, I don't really say this very often, but for the sake of the video, I'll say it, that I'm a very honest and forthgoing person. So what I mean by this is, I'll just do things. I'll go out of my way to, I don't think I've ever lied one time. Maybe when I was a kid, I tried that, and then I just went back over it, and I was just like, nah, this doesn't feel good. So I don't lie. Like, that's part of my personality. I don't lie. That's part of my character. Lying is just a no-go. Doing something wrong that feels wrong. I have a very strong sense of justice, and so whenever I do something wrong, I feel a need to correct it. I do not seek others' approval and others' validation by simply doing and fixing. I just do it because I know it's the right thing to do. It's kind of like, whenever you read a story, there's always a few different types of characters, and there's always a certain character that does things the wrong way, and one character that does the things the right way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that something's right and something's wrong. It just means that some characters do good deeds and some characters do bad deeds, And some characters do a mix of both, and some characters don't do anything. So of course, you get to pick what kind of character you play in the theatrical piece that is your life, in a way. So I've decided to become how do I say this? It just fits perfectly with who I am, to become the good, kind, selfless, kind of useful and valuable person. It just fits perfectly with who I am. And being honest and empathetic and forward going, and just being the kind of person that helps others and that puts themselves on the line and sacrifices their time and energy and effort and physical vitality in order to benefit the lives of people around them. That's always the kind of person I was before. Ever since I was a kid, it showed up in the small things. Like, my parents used to buy me candy when I was a kid after school, and I used to save it for the next day. And when I would go to school, like, I had like 30-40 pieces of candy in like one bag, and I would give out probably like almost all of the candy, and I would probably have like maybe like 3-4 pieces. That's pretty much it. And I would just give everything away to my classmates, because I felt like I wanted to share that joy and that gift that I received from my parents. I didn't want to be completely selfish and just use that for myself. I wanted to share. I've always been the kind of guy who, whenever he bought something, to share it with other people. Another example would be like going to high school. I always used to be the guy that had chewing gum. So whenever like one of my friends didn't have any, I didn't even wait for him to ask. I would just tell him like, "Hey, do you want some chewing gum? I've got some." And say, "Yeah, oh yeah, cool, thanks." And I wouldn't even give a shit. Doesn't matter how much money it's gonna cost. Like, I don't care. I just do it out of the selflessness of my heart. Just do it out of the bottom of my heart, because I know that that's the kind of person I am. And I don't know really where it comes from, but it just makes perfect sense. That's just who I am. So whenever I do something bad, I feel so guilty and ashamed, and that I have to correct it. That's like, in terms of principles, that's what I'm talking about. Becoming a man of principles is simply setting in stone who you are and respecting that to a super high standard. It might be forced at a certain degree, but personally, I've gotten to the point where it's no longer forced. It is just who I am. And that shows up in the small things. Like, for instance, recently I put together a routine of a checklist routine discipline that I'm going to go through every single week to make sure that order prevails over chaos in my life. So it might be something like once a week I'll cut my nails, I'll trim my nails, my like toenails, fingernails, all of that. I'll wax my shoes, I'll clean my sheets, I'll wash the bed, or like all the bedding stuff, and I'll reorganize my closet, I'll iron my shirts, all that kind of stuff, and then I'll do that once a week. And then every day I know that I need to drink a certain amount of water, I need to eat good food, I need to have a certain amount of food that I eat so that I don't go in an extreme caloric deficit or an extreme caloric surplus. I know that before going to bed I brush my teeth, and even like, so basically what I do is I wake up, take a shower, first thing, boom, wake up, drink a glass of water. I might eat a few things in the morning to make sure I don't lose muscle mass. So like for instance, I might make some eggs in the morning, something like that, something simple, maybe a few fruit, so that way I get the vitamins in, I get the bare basics, don't eat that much in the morning. Then after that, I brush my teeth. Then after work, get all of the stuff done throughout the day. And then when I'm done with the day, what I like to do is I like to journal. I like to log in everything that I've done for today, and I like to summarize in what I did and how can I do a better job tomorrow on a piece of paper. And then I've probably got like 5 or 6 journals in my downstairs. So like here, I'm on top of my apartment building. So I've got probably like 5 or 6 journals that are just full. Like I think they're like maybe like 300-400 pages each, and they're all full. For the past 3 years, I've just been filling those out. And so I do that, and then when I'm done with that, I brush my teeth again at the end of the day, and then I go to bed. Lights out around 9, 10, max 11 p.m. That's pretty much it. So there are things that I do that I feel are important that I'm doing, that I don't need somebody to know that I'm doing it for me to be like, yes, this is working, this is progress, this is good, this is battling the forces of entropy, if you know what I mean. So if you want to become a man of principle, you just have to define it in your own true words, in your own true self, who that is, and then just sticking by that and standing by it no matter what happens. If something tries to violate your standards, you cut it out. It might be a person, it might be a romantic relationship, maybe your girlfriend starts to step on your standards, to test them, to see what kind of man you truly are. And in that case, it's your duty to draw the line in the sand and to be like, no, you're not going to do this. And if you are, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to make you leave. Because I've decided that is the kind of person I am. And you are going to respect these standards, because if you don't, I'm done. It could be something with tying yourself to different types of people, because you need to keep in mind always that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. In that case, what you need to be careful of and what you need to be more wary about is if you surround yourself with people of very low principle, of very low integrity, of very low self-respect, you are going to end up looking like them in character, in stature, in physical prowess, in all of these things. You're going to end up looking like them because you are surrounding yourself around them. So what you need to do is you need to surround yourself, or you need to cut out the people you do not resonate with, the people that do not have the character and the fortitude of surrounding yourself with people that have the type of character that is respectable, that is worthy of your presence, is what I mean. You need to have, it's kind of like tied into ego when you actually think about it, but it's not ego, like it's not undeserved ego, it's earned ego. So it's the kind of person you are, and you're granting the opportunity to someone else to be a part of your inner circle. And I would not offer that to just anybody, because I personally, I'm more introverted kind of person. I used to be much more introverted than I am today. Now I'm kind of in the middle where I'm able to go out and talk to people and be very good at talking to people, but at the same time I do want some peace and quiet for myself throughout the day, so that way I can do what it is I want to do. So yes, I think everybody should have a list of principles that they live by, that they stand by, and that if they feel like that has been violated, either leave or go somewhere else where your feelings are reciprocated. Go somewhere else where you are not being tolerated, and instead you are being pushed to being the better version of yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Like, for instance, for me, when I was, like, I'm 23 right now. When I was around the age of 20, I decided to cut out a lot of people from my life because they simply were not the kind of person I wanted to surround myself with. They were not the kind of person that had the character that I was looking for. These people that would cheat, these people that would do bad, these people that would wrong people, these people that would just escape, these people that would backstab you without a second thought, these people that would like just throw you under the bus at the meager sign of at the meager sign of a threat looming over them. They would throw you under the bus and they would run for the hills. That is what I'm talking about. Those people, I cut them out of my life on purpose because I knew those people were not the kind of person I wanted to surround myself with on the long term. I knew that these people didn't give a shit about me, so why would I give a shit about them? That's what I'm talking about. So you have to think for yourself, what kind of man are you? What are your standards? What are your principles? Who are you? Define that. Become extremely clear and extremely confident about that, and then basically just incarnate that character to such a degree that people remember you by the simple small actions you perform. It is super simple. It is the kind of things like taking your trolley bag, or cleaning up after yourself, or even if I personally am I don't really give a shit what other people have to say. Why are you wasting your time opening the door for a woman? It isn't today equality, 50-50? I don't give a flying fuck, bro. If there's a woman, regardless if she's pretty or fucking ugly, I do not care. I'm opening the door for her. I am letting her sit down. I'm giving her my fucking seat. I am chivalrous in that matter. I'll walk on the fucking side of the road where there's nearest to the cars. I don't care, alright? That is the kind of principles I have. And I'm not doing them because other people are watching me or judging me. I don't care. I judge myself way harder than anybody could on the fucking face of the earth. I'll give you a bit of a backstory. I used to be, I think I was maybe 14, 15, around that age. And you know when you go to school and there's PE class, right? And sometimes in PE class you would go to the public pool in order to swim there and have PE at the swimming class, basically. And I used to be overweight at that time. I used to be over 100 kilos, super overweight, not that very attractive, not that good hair, not that good skin, all that sort of stuff. Not very good hygiene, the works. So at that time, I was so deeply ashamed of myself that I could not take off my shirt, take off my clothes, and be in swimming trunks in front of other people other than my parents. I felt so ashamed of the judgment stare that I would portray onto other people, that I would think that's how they look at me. But in pure fact, I was actually judging myself. And that's what pushed me to to go to the gym and to fix myself, to fix my health, in order to look at myself in the mirror and think to myself, I've done a good job. I look nice. I don't feel bad. I feel great. I feel energetic. I feel like great. I feel amazing right now. So it's easy. Like, I don't think I'm like a supermodel at all. Like, maybe some people think so. I don't fucking know. Like, I have no fucking clue. I don't think so. Like, I don't have the chiseled, super chiseled jawline. Like, sure, I have a strong jawline, but I'm not like 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? I am definitely, I don't, maybe you guys can let me know if I'm delusional or whatever, but I personally would think to myself, I would probably rate myself a 6 out of 10 on a bad day, a 7 out of 10 on an okay day, and maybe like an 8 out of 10 on a good day. That's what I would rate myself, because I take care of myself to a very high degree, and I've got most of my boxes checked. Now I'm working more on the finances so that way I can increase my rating. In that case, if I had more money, I would probably rate myself an 8, but more often. But that's not the point of where I am right now. So where I am right now, I would rate myself on average a 7 out of 10. Now, I'm not rating myself a 7 out of 10 because I'm being generous. I'm rating myself a 7 out of 10 because I've looked at all of the boxes in my life, and I know for certain that there are people that look worse than I do, that aren't as stable of a lifestyle that I have. They do not have the same habits. They do not have the same principles. They do not have all of these things. And sure, there's a helicopter flying, but who gives a shit? It is a bit loud, but who cares? So, what I think truly matters is, like I mentioned, what you do when nobody's looking. What do you do? Are you like a dirty little goblin, or are you actually majestically beautiful, clean, orderly, and disciplined? Who are you when nobody's looking? So, even if I judge myself way harder than other people, I will always stand up with those principles in mind. It doesn't matter what other people think about me. I don't care. You may love me or you may hate me. I don't care. Some people will love me for who I am. I would rather be, I posted a short on this actually recently, is I would rather be loved for who I am truly and portray my personality 100% and never wear a mask, rather than be loved for who I am not. I would rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. I want to be myself. I don't care if you hate me. Love me or hate me. If you watch my content, you're a fan. I remember fucking the bald kickboxer said that, and it makes sense. If you watch my content, if you love me or hate me, you're watching the content, so you're a fan. Whatever. So yeah, I think you should take some time today to write down on a piece of paper and be clear, be crystal clear on who you are, what are your standards, what are your principles, and then what can you do to push them upwards and put them in front of people and say, if you violate my standards, fucking see you later, bro. That's what I'm talking about. And look at every area in your life. Look at the character you are, and look at where you're tolerating a bit too much. And just, if you think that it's violating your principles as a character, I would just fucking cut them out, bro. If you have a job and it is a stable source of income, and you have the savings to change jobs, and you can live for like a month or 2 months fine while you find a new job, and at this job you are getting bullied, you're getting fucking disrespected by like a manager or an owner or whoever the fuck, I would just tell them like, hey, if you don't stop treating me like shit, I'm gonna leave. You don't have to do it in public, even though if they're super disrespectful, I would do it in public. I almost did this at my previous job as a waiter. I took the manager, I almost took the manager and in front of everybody in the restaurant, I was just gonna tell him like, hey, you're disrespecting me right now and I do not like your tone. If you continue to treat me as such, I'm going to leave. I'm going to quit this job. I almost did that. I didn't have to, but I almost got to that point. So that's what I'm talking about. It is standing up for yourself when other people are mistreating you. Going to where your energy is reciprocated. Don't stay where you're being fucked over. Understand your value. So I appreciate every single one of you guys watching until the end of the video. As always, happy to have a conversation in the comments. If you want to comment something, happy to answer some questions. Happy to give you some advice. If you want some advice on relationships, business, scheduling, becoming more productive, becoming more efficient with your time, literally anything, feel free to ask. If it's a good question, I'll give you my raw, honest advice. I won't sugarcoat it though, so if it hurts, that's your problem. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I wish you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. I post every single day. Have a great day, and I'll see you around.